Was the yellow card a clear and obvious error in your view?
Yes, I think it was. Sometimes you don't recognise the severity of what you've seen. The way he flew in, I mean, if you look back at the challenge, when the collision happens, both players fly through the air, and the intensity behind it was quite incredible. I don't think there could be any other outcome.
Hincapie's arm was used recklessly, but his eyes remained on the ball during the challenge.
There was no clenched fist. He doesn't swing the arm. He's literally jumping to head the ball. And I think because Caicedo had been sent off, many people are saying, that they wanted the Arsenal player sending off to level it up. Football doesn't work like that.
Hello and welcome to Men in Black with me, Sam Matterface, your weekly podcast as we dive into all the big decisions in the top flight of English football. I'm also joined by Wayne Rooney's favourite Premier League referee, Chris Foy. Morning, Chris.
I'll take it, Sam. I'll take it.
There's plenty to get stuck into after an unbelievable weekend of red cards, retakes, raging managers. We begin at Stamford Bridge and the battle of two top title contenders, quite possibly. It was chaotic.
Moises Caicedo
he can't find it.
To be shown a red card. The Chelsea fans are not happy. Enzo Maresca looks perplexed. I think that's probably the right decision. I do think it was a dangerous challenge. And I think he's let his team down, Caicedo.
Chelsea won, Arsenal won. The referee was Anthony Taylor and the VAR was John Brooks. And I think we'll dive into Moises Caicedo getting sent off after 38 minutes for serious foul play. Middle of the first half, Caicedo goes in for a challenge with Marino. His studs are up and he does catch the Arsenal player above the ankle with force. Now, the referee, Anthony Taylor, initially showed Caicedo a yellow card. Both players were on the floor for a little while. There was a bit of treatment that went on. The VAR, in the meantime, intervened and recommended a review. And that review meant that the yellow was upgraded to red. Now, the announcement said this: after review, Chelsea 25 makes a challenge with excessive force and endangers the safety of an opponent. Therefore, my final decision is red card. Now, the questions were asked on the TV analysis at half-time if the game was being re-refereed. Was the yellow card a clear and obvious error in your view, Chris?
Yes, I think it was, Sam. I looked at Anthony Taylor's position, and sometimes as a referee, you can see an incident and sometimes you don't recognise the severity of what you've seen. Because you work on the principle, if you see something, you recognise it, then you think and then you act. Now, when he shows him a yellow card, he feels as though it's a reckless challenge. Quite clearly, the VAR in this situation, John Brooks, looks at it and sees something different, because the way Caicedo slid in with speed, and it was real speed, it was full-blooded, it was really intense, the point of contact just above the ankle. I don't think there could be any other outcome. So when he recommended a review and Anthony Taylor went to the monitor to look at it, he could see there clearly that it was a serious foul play challenge and not a reckless one.
OK, so this is excessive force and endangering the safety of an opponent. Does it breach those guidelines? Does it go into that category the minute it goes above the ankle?
Not always necessarily. I think what you're talking about now is you need all the ingredients, really. I think the way he came from distance, the speed was phenomenal. The way he flew in. I mean, if you look back at the challenge, when the collision happens, both players fly through the air, and the intensity behind it was quite incredible. And even copped an injury himself. So when you actually see it at the monitor in real time, and that proves the offence, it was just a really dangerous tackle. I thought it was a great intervention, and there's not too many dissenting voices with this overturn, to be fair.
No, it was a feisty first 45 minutes. Stamford Bridge was bubbling. I was there at the game, pitch side. Referee Anthony Taylor showed 6 cards inside the first 45 minutes. Can you sort of explain to us what it's like when you're in that situation? It is a really highly competitive contest between two teams that are really going at it. Do you sort of have to sometimes temper your enthusiasm when it comes to putting your hand in your pocket and pulling out a card? And did he get it about right yesterday?
Do you know what? I actually thought he refereed this game really, really well. As you said, Sammy, you were at the game. I think there was a challenge early on Saka Cucurella, and he gave a free kick and he sort of calmed it down, and he was using all his management skills to calm the players down. Breathe in, just calm and play. And there's some fouls and he's giving free kicks. And as soon as he got his first yellow card out, I knew it was coming. Because every tackle, I think it might have been Cucurella, it was a tackle from behind, if you remember.
Yep.
And then the other offences that were detected were clear shirt pulling or tackles from behind. And you can have no complaints about them. This was a really tough game of football. These are games where I think to myself, I miss these games. And it's top against third, there's a lot at stake. It's a big game of football. It's a London derby. And you're dipping in and you're dipping out. And you're using all your skills as a referee and all your attributes. You're managing the quiet word, using the captains, cautioning when necessary. And of course, there was a red card, which was the right decision. But I thought he refereed the game really, really well.
Could there have been another red card when Piero Hincapie was accused of an elbow on Trevor Chalobah? This is just after Caicedo is sent off. He's involved with an incident which prompts the VAR to review the action. Sky Sports' Peter Drury revealed during the commentary of the game that the VAR told referee Anthony Taylor that Hincapie's arm was used recklessly, but his eyes remained on the ball during the challenge. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. And I think because Caicedo had been sent off, many people are saying, that they wanted the Arsenal player sending off to level it up. Football doesn't work like that. You judge each decision on its merits. And when I look at this challenge, he jumps, he's got eyes on the ball, and he uses his arm and he catches Chalobah. Make no mistake about that. We know that. But there was no clenched fist. He doesn't swing the arm or smash the arm into the head of Chalobah. He's literally jumping to head the ball. His arm is used a little bit recklessly. I understand that. And on field, he was cautioned. So I have no problem with that decision. But it's not a red card for me, Sam. I just don't see a red card there.
Are you just trying to make friends with all the Arsenal supporters that you've annoyed over the last 15 weeks of this programme by, letting them off with one?
I give it as I see it, Sam. I'm prepared to take the flak and the usual Monday clobbering.
So that's Chelsea-Arsenal, finished 1-1. Let's move on to the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City 3, Leeds United 2. This is another humdinger of a football match, which looked like it was going one way at one point and then very quickly went the other. Referee's Peter Banks, VAR is Rob Jones here. Now, Leeds rallied after a half-time break, after a little bit of a change in tactics. Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored immediately after the restart. City visibly sort of struggled to sort of cope with the sort of change in Leeds' approach in the second 45. And just before Lucas Mecha levelled, home goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma went down to receive treatment, allowing Pep Guardiola to call his players over to the touchline. We see this all the time now, Chris. This is a little bit of a tactic that goes on up and down the country, and issue fresh instructions in the 2 minutes that the play was stopped for. This is what Daniel Farke said on the matter.
It's within the rules. It's smart. If it's in the sense of fair play, if it should be like this, I keep it to myself. I leave it with the authorities to find solutions for it. It's within the rules. I asked the fourth official at this point, do you want to do something against it? No. Our hands are tied. We can't do anything. We know that this happens, and if we don't educate our players in football what to do in terms of fair play, sportsmanship, whatever, and you just try to bend the rules somehow just to your advantage, and you can even do a fake injury in order to do additional team talk, I think it's nothing what I personally like anyhow. But if it's within the rules, I can't complain about it.
Now, the law states that a player who is assessed and/or receives treatment on the pitch must then leave the pitch, except for when the injured player is a goalkeeper. A goalkeeper and an outfield player collide with each other and need attention. So it's anything to do with the goalkeeper. It means that you don't have that 30 seconds on the sideline waiting to come back on. So there's no punishment for anybody who decides to go down and take these tactical timeouts. At a meeting of the IFAB's Football and Technical Advisory panels in October, various measures to improve the flow of play and minimise interruptions were discussed. The tactic of using a supposed goalkeeper injury so the coach can speak to players was talked about at length. What is the solution here?
Goodness me, as you mentioned, it's the length and breadth of the country. I think it's around the world, isn't it? You use the phrase tactical timeout. Lots of people have got lots of opinions, and it's something that we know now is cause for concern because the international body are discussing it. I listened to Danny Murphy recently, and he came up with an idea that if a goalkeeper goes down and receives treatment, then when play restarts, an outfield player should leave the field for a period of time. I understand that. And that, would that stop it from happening? I don't know. It's a real difficult one, this. And the international board, when they meet, will obviously, as I said, will discuss it. What will their thoughts be? I don't know. What would you like, Sam?
A yellow card for unsporting behaviour.
Really?
Yeah.
And if the goalkeeper is injured?
Well, then it's not a yellow card, is it? If he's genuinely injured and he needs to have proper medical attention, then there is no punishment because he's not doing anything wrong. But if it's clearly, I mean, I'll take you back to England versus Serbia at Wembley in the qualifiers just a few weeks ago. Jordan Pickford goes down because he's got a problem with the top of his thigh. I mean, there was absolutely nothing wrong with him. England just needed a little bit of a chat with Thomas Tuchel, and he tactically went down. They went over, they got the chat, then very quickly they got themselves on the front foot, reorganised, and bang. But ultimately, that was disrupting the flow of the game. I mean, we'll take it because it was England on that occasion. But, you know, in the Premier League, if you do that and you're doing it just to disrupt the flow so that you can get tactical information on, that is not in the laws of the game. I think it's a yellow card. Unsporting behaviour.
I'll go with Danny Murphy. I think I would take an outfield player off.
Always best to go with Danny Murphy over me, I would have thought.
No, I've refed him enough times, didn't I? Yeah, I think I would go with that one, but I'm really interested to see how this discussion unfolds when the international board meet.
Because you can't necessarily just grab someone off the pitch and say, you've got to come off. How do you determine who is that comes off the pitch? Is there someone nominated before the game that if this happens, you've got to take off this player? I don't know. I mean, and then what if that player's substituted previously? I think it's too complicated. I think the referee has to game manage the situation anyway, so why not use his skills? If he walks over and thinks that's not a genuine injury, you're going down just to get a tactical timeout, yellow card, he won't do it again, will he?
How about then,
Okay.
managers and coaches have to stay seated so they can't come to the edge of the touchline and give instruction to the
Well,
players?
that would work as well, right? So if a goalkeeper goes down, maybe the rule is that none of the coaching staff can interact with the players during that medical bit of attention. Maybe that is the sort of approach.
Didn't take us long, did it, mate? We've got it sorted.
See, we just talked it out. You don't need to have your fancy meetings in Zurich or somewhere like that. Pay for everybody to stay in a 5-star hotel.
Excuse me, can I go to Zurich?
Right, okay, let's move on.
This is absolutely ludicrous. It's West Ham 0, Liverpool 1, but Lucas Paqueta is walking and Nuno will be absolutely furious.
Paqueta left Darren England no choice whatsoever to say, get away from me, what you're shouting and screaming in my ear, I don't want to hear it. Now Paqueta's let his West Ham teammates, he's let the fans down, and basically he's just lost his head. He's lost his head completely.
West Ham 0, Liverpool 2. The referee's Darren England, the VAR is Paul Tierney, and Lucas Paqueta is sent off for 2 quick yellow cards. The final one comes in the 84th minute. They're 1-0 down, West Ham. There's still a bit of time to go here. I thought this was really silly. Paqueta earns himself 2 cautions in quick succession for arguing with the referee Darren England. He refused to be pulled away by West Ham teammates or even Alisson, who was trying to help him out as well, his compatriot, who's the Liverpool goalkeeper. He continues to chirp away at the officials and eventually he gets a second yellow card. Now, the referee issued 2 yellow cards to Lucas Paqueta, and both of them for dissent. Now, he said that his ridiculous behaviour that resulted in the red card in the 2-0 defeat to Liverpool was a reflection of everything I've had to endure. He was replying to a Sky Sports video of the incident where commentator Rob Green calls his reaction ridiculous. Paqueta says, it's ridiculous to have your life and career affected for 2 years without psychological support from the Federation. Perhaps this ridiculous behaviour is just a reflection of everything I've had to endure, and it seems have to continue enduring. I'm sorry if it's not perfect. Obviously, he's been really harmed by the accusations that came his way. It meant that for 2 years he was living under a cloud. Maybe he's still, I'm guessing that he feels if he's still got a problem with authority. So the idea that referees sort of represent the FA here, he sort of feels as if that's sort of like an outlet for his anger. But what do you make of his reflections?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting one, isn't it? It's something we don't see very often on a football field, a player getting 2 yellow cards in the space of, just over a minute. I mean, his first reaction to a foul was worthy of a yellow card, obviously, because of the way he sort of showed dissent both physically and verbally. And then it just carried on. I mean, Darren England, fair play to him. He worked tirelessly there. He was moving around. He was trying to deflect the player, and the player was following him. He was back. He's following him. Jarrod Bowen comes across with a teammate. He's trying to use the captain. That's not working, as you mentioned. Alisson, the Liverpool goalkeeper, comes on. He speaks to him. He's got his arm around him. He's trying to cajole him. But the simple thing is with this, Sam, we've got the Participant Behaviour Charter, which all the governing bodies have signed up to, the LMA, the PFA, Premier League, FA, etc., where we've got to protect the image of the game. We've got a shared responsibility with this. And Darren England did everything he could in that situation to try and just calm it down, but it didn't work. And even when he showed him a second yellow card, he was walking off applauding. And it wasn't a good look. And quite clearly, a lot of people have got a lot to say about this, but a referee can only do what a referee does. They pride themselves in England, in the Premier League referees, managing situations. Darren did his utmost there, but it was just to no avail.
And I understand all of that. And, you brought up the participant charter, but sometimes you have special cases. And this is a player that clearly has got a serious problem. He's been affected by what's happened to him in the past. He's been accused of things which he thinks that he should never have been. Those charges were not proven. The player's only returning from a 1-match suspension on Sunday anyway because he accumulated 5 yellow cards. Clearly, this guy has got a problem with authority, maybe born out of what happened previously. Should someone take him to one side now, sit down and explain to him how he has to behave going forward, offer him the help that he's clearly asking for in his social media posts to support him through what has obviously been a really tough time? You have to sometimes, we all know everybody's different. All different humans react in different ways to different situations. Maybe he needs a little bit of special treatment.
Well, what's happened has happened. You can't change what happened in the game yesterday. He got sent off. And I think what was interesting was when you listen to the press conference after of Nuno, the manager, he said he would sit down with the player and chat to him. And I would imagine over the coming days that the club may well say something. They may not. But quite clearly they will do that behind closed doors as they do, as they see fit. But as I said, coming back to the referee, there wasn't a great deal more he could do on that situation.
Will he know in his mind, though, that this guy's always picking up yellow cards? I say always picking up yellow cards because he's already picked up 5 before yesterday, 2 in this game, obviously. That's 7 already this season. We've only played 14 matches. He's picking up a lot of yellow cards. Well, as a referee that he has a tendency to do this kind of thing.
No, you just adjudicate on what you see, what physically happens or verbally happens on the pitch. You can't prejudge that. But as I said, the referee worked tirelessly on this one, didn't he, to not give him a second yellow? But it was to no avail because it just didn't stop and it carried on going. And as I said, behind closed doors, probably later on today, when they're back in for training, they'll discuss and talk it through of why that happened.
Okay, let's crack on to Villa Park. James Bell was the VAR, Chris Kavanagh the referee, as Villa beat Wolves by a 1-0. It's their 8th straight home win. Another week and another offside goal for obstructing the opponent's line of vision. This happens week in, week out now. Wolves thought they'd taken the lead. Jurgen Strand-Larsen finished very neatly into the corner, only for John Arias to be adjudged to have been obstructing Emi Martinez's view. That was the on-field decision. VAR checked it and said that stands. are we starting to find a little bit of consistency here with the idea of what constitutes obstructing the opponent's line of vision?
Yeah, I think of all the ones we've spoken about in recent weeks, I think I actually said, the first one that started this was Virgil van Dijk at Manchester City, and I said that that goal should have stood. I think this one was probably the clearest we've seen. And I think what's really important here is this decision was given on field by the assistant. And when you see it, he's actually, the Wolves player is actually physically stood right in front of Martinez. And then he ducks down. And I'm always one for listening to what other people's views are, whether ex-players, managers, and I think there's a real shutout with this one. I don't think anybody would disagree that this was the right call. As I said, given on field, clearly obstructing the goalkeeper's line of vision, checked by VAR, and that's the right outcome.
OK, John Arias was also involved in another event that happened in this game. He commits a very strange two-footed jump tackle in the second half on Boubacar Kamara. The referee, Chris Kavanagh, was advised to visit the pitchside monitor to review the footage himself. The referee then decides that it's only a reckless tackle rather than one using excessive force or endangering the safety of an opponent, so doesn't give a red card. Now, the VAR, James Bell, had recommended a red card review here. So why did Chris Kavanagh not change his mind and upgrade this from a yellow to a red, or upgrade this at all? Because actually, I don't think he gave a yellow card in the first place, did he? No,
he didn't give a foul, and that was the surprising bit for me on this one. No foul given. Quite clearly, it was checked by the VAR, James Bell. When Chris Kavanagh went to the monitor and looked at the incident, this was what I would call a really strange kind of I don't think it was more of a block than a tackle, Sam. I mean, I know you play football. Sometimes you will do a little skip with your feet and just jump to block a tackle. You're not sort of airborne, horizontal, off the ground, flying in with intensity and speed, and there's a point of contact on the shin. He just lands on his toe. So James Bell feels as though, it's a tackle that's worthy of a red card for serious foul play. And all options were open for Chris Kavanagh. He looked at it. He must have felt that it lacked the speed, it lacked the intensity, and it was more of a block than a lunging tackle. So he felt that was a yellow card for a reckless challenge. As I said, I think from the beginning, the surprise for me was that nothing was given on field. And Chris Kavanagh went with it. I don't think there was too much noise around it. If he'd have got a red, I don't think it would have been overturned. But he felt reckless. It's an interesting one in that regard. I mean, how do you see it yourself as a player? Do you see that as a serious foul play challenge when you make that little skip and you're blocking?
It's the 2 feet for me. I don't understand the 2 feet. They're both at the same time. It is dangerous, isn't it? Because if you land in the wrong place, you're causing serious injury because your whole body weight's coming down. Doesn't matter how short the jump is or if it is a skip, the whole body weight comes down on the player. If you could cause some serious injury. But what I liked about this situation is that this is a proper collaborative effort, isn't it? Oh, you missed this. You need to go and have a look at this. I have a look at it and I decide that actually, no, it's not a red card, it's a yellow card, and I'll go back and give that. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because a lot of times we say a VAR can't intervene and tell someone to give a yellow card. And that's true. You can't review a yellow card. However, what you can do is that in the process of maybe recommending a red card, a referee who decides to go against the VAR can issue a yellow card, because they've spotted something that they feel is a yellow card offence.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to prove that Chris Kavanagh had the courage of his convictions. As I said, if he'd have got a red, there wouldn't have been too many complaints. He had the courage of convictions. He was comfortable with a yellow card for a reckless tackle. And it's nice to see a referee go to the monitor. And not only that, because he's gone to the monitor, he's also announced it as well, which I think is really good. And I'm enjoying hearing that as well this season.
Oh, yeah, you're enjoying those announcements. I bet you wish you could have that little Madonna mic on so that you could do them yourself. Right. Let's get to the Stadium of Light. Sunderland 3, Bournemouth 2. What another great game this was. Tim Robinson was the referee, and we'll get to him in just a second because Andoni Iraola not happy about his performance. John Brooks, the VAR. Let's start with the Sunderland penalty decision. Alex Scott on Reynildo in the 30th minute of the game. Bournemouth midfielder Alex Scott challenges Reynildo, the Sunderland left back, resulting in Reynildo going down. Tim Robinson points to the spot, judging that Alex Scott had fouled Reynildo. Now, the decision was subject to a lengthy VAR check, debating whether or not Reynildo was the one who initiated the contact or bought the foul by placing his leg across Scott's path, or if Scott's challenge was genuine contact that impeded him, because we have to have contact with consequence. That's sort of like the vibe for giving a penalty. Eventually, the decision stood. It feels like it's referee's call. Had the referee not awarded the penalty, VAR probably wouldn't have got involved in this, would it?
You're spot on. You're learning quick. Yeah. Referees call it always, it's given on field. I thought it was a penalty. In fairness, I think it's a tackle from behind. And when the referee is in a really good position, like he was, Tim Robinson, on this occasion, it was interesting because the position he took up at Sunderland on Saturday was the position if he'd have been in at Crystal Palace against Brighton when he gave a penalty for a simulation.
Yes.
He would have had a different outcome. So it just goes to prove that, he's working hard on his positioning. I can't be critical of him in this situation, Sam. I think it was a penalty given on field, and I don't see VAR intervening there because I just don't see it as a clear and obvious error.
OK, Lewis Cook was sent off for violent conduct in the 4th minute of stoppage time. He received a straight red card for an elbow on the Sunderland midfielder Noah Siddiqui. Now, the referee's call of red card to Cook for violent conduct was checked and confirmed by the VAR, with it deemed that the action was a deliberate elbow to the face of Siddiqui. Did you agree with it, and was it a good spot by the referee?
It's an outstanding piece of refereeing, Sam. I mean, the weather on Saturday, the conditions, the game was physical, it was up and down, no quarter asked, none given. You look at the last knock-ins of a game. I thought it was an absolutely brilliant spot by Tim Robinson. It's an act of violent conduct by Lewis Cook. He just smashes Siddiqui in the face and quite rightly gets a red card and off he went. So fair play to the referee for sticking to his guns and seeing that one out. I thought it was a great detection.
He just sort of lifts his arm like that and runs into him, doesn't he? I didn't really understand it, to be honest with you. I didn't see it first time. I've got to admit, it was only when I saw the replay that I thought, well, yeah, he's got no choice really, because he intentionally lifts his arm up, doesn't he? So that is a bit of an issue. But I don't think Andoni Iraola was too happy with the performance of the referee. In fact, he said he lost control of the game. He said, we lost our heads a little bit with the referee. There is a clear foul. There is a push from behind. And if that is not enough for a foul, then it is not enough for a penalty. There is some contact, but I don't think that that's enough for a penalty. He's referring back to the Alex Scott decision in the first part of the discussion that we've had. Everyone supporting our team today would have had a yellow card or a red card. It was very difficult with how the referee was calling everything. He basically lost control of the game. I understand in the stadium it is costly for us because we're losing 3 players and also Lewis for 3 games. I think it's a straight red at the end. Everyone is needed. That's quite a sort of rambling sort of response to the whole thing from Andoni Iraola, but I thought it was important to read every syllable of what he said, not to misconstrue it. But basically, he thought that Tim Robinson lost control. Did you?
Can you just read that again, what he said? No, he didn't. Listen, Sam, football is an emotional game, isn't it? I mean, this was an absolute humdinger of a football match. It was played in terrible conditions. I mean, it rained from minute 1 till the final whistle. Players were sliding in. There were 50-50s. It was a physical game. It was end-to-end, 5 goals, a red card, penalty. And emotion plays a massive part in football. And as a referee, you have to stay restrained and controlled and just referee what's in front of you. Not an easy game to referee when the players are going to ground, and some will use the conditions to try and get a decision out of you. But there's obviously a lot of frustration there from the Bournemouth manager. And sometimes, that's what happens in press conferences, maybe when he's reflected on the game. And I know that they'll have reviewed that already. He may actually change his tune, but you never know, do you?
Right, let's get to the G-Tech Community Stadium. Brentford 3, Burnley 1. The referee was Sam Barrett, the VAR was Neil Davis. Now, this game was pretty sedate up until the last 15 minutes or so. Let's start with the penalty that was awarded to Nzebi on Ouattara. Ouattara was put through, 77 minutes on the clock, surged past to Nzebi into the penalty area. Nzebi was caught on the wrong side and challenged Ouattara from behind. The VAR decision was a penalty confirmed after the referee on field had given the decision. Burnley's manager Scott Parker expressed some doubt about it, saying that he thought that Nzebi might have got a toe on it. Well, I think he did get a toe on it, but was the angle of the challenge the reason why he ended up getting a penalty given against him?
Well, I didn't see a touch on the ball, but what I would say is credit where credit's due to Sam Barrett, who I think's got tremendous potential to be a real top referee. This is a decision that's given on field. It's a last-ditch tackle, Sam, as we say, and he's gone through the back, and the penalty's given on field. And quite clearly, we know the VAR is going to check it, Neil Davis. I don't see any reason there for an overturn. I just don't see that as a clear and obvious error. Sometimes you've actually got to pay credit to the referee, who, as you say, it's after 81 minutes, and he's still working tirelessly to get in the right position, and the challenge comes in, he sees it, he points to the spot. And I actually, when I watched it, I love seeing positive decision-making where the referee's worked himself into a great position, blows the whistle, bang, points to the spot, and the players know. And I thought it was a really good piece of refereeing.
Why is Scott Parker so annoyed about it?
Well, we're getting to the time of the season now, aren't we? You know, we're 12 games in. Managers get frustrated, players get frustrated. When I was refereeing, if I hadn't got a game, I'd be getting frustrated because that's football. Football's emotional. You know, the job description of a football manager is to win matches, and if you lose, obviously you're gonna get a little bit frustrated with that. And Scott's got his opinion; he's entitled to that, absolutely, and I've got no problems with it. But
can you see where he's coming from? Because he says, you know, you'd like to think with VAR, they've looked at it for long enough that they'd come up with the right decision. Can you see what he is getting at?
No, because I just don't see it as an error. I just see it as an outstanding, strong piece of refereeing that's positive, where the referee, as I said, has worked himself into the right position. He's blown the whistle, he's pointed the spot, it's a penalty. And the players know. It just frustrates me sometimes when I hear that. But listen, Scott, like all the other managers, has got an opinion. He's come out with his opinion, but we shouldn't. That shouldn't detract from the way Sam Barrett refereed that game. And as I said, I thought it was a penalty.
OK, let's get to the Palace. Crystal Palace 1, Manchester United 2. Rob Jones is the ref. Matt Donoghue is the VAR. And this is all about Matt Donoghue. Because Crystal Palace get a penalty. Jean-Philippe Mateta had his goal from the spot disallowed by the VAR for an accidental double touch during the first half of their game against Manchester United. Now, JP Mateta gets to retake the penalty. Matthijs de Ligt doesn't know about the change in the law and is screaming at the fourth official saying, why is he getting to retake it? I can give you two words: Julian Alvarez. Now, do you know why this law was changed, Chris? Do you know why it was changed? Do you know what happened? Do you know the incident?
I am saying that was the former Manchester City player, wasn't it?
It was.
Are we talking about Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid in the Champions League final?
Yes, we are. It wasn't the Champions League final. It was a last 16 game at the Metropolitano in Madrid. I was in the stadium at the time, and it was a penalty shootout, which Atletico lost. They were a much better team across the course of the game, and they lost it because of a penalty that was missed by Julian Alvarez. Now, actually, the ball went into the net, but it was cancelled because he double kicked it on the way through. He slipped, it hit his foot and went in. Now, the law was changed as a result of this, and it caught a few people out this weekend because it is a very recent rule change. Now, the accidental double touch penalties now are retaken, but only if the kick is successful. If they're unsuccessful, you don't get to take it again. That's just it, a free kick given to the defending team. But if it goes into the back of the net, you get the opportunity to do it again because they don't like the fact that you've double kicked it. I thought it was fascinating because there's few people in the ground who didn't really know what was going on.
It's great. It's great. I've got a question for you, Sam. I've got a question.
Yeah, go on.
Can you remember the last time it happened in the Premier League? Because you just asked me about Alvarez.
Can I remember the last time the penalty like that happened, or a double touch? Because I remember a double touch. Queen's Park Rangers against Manchester City. Joe Hart took a goal kick, I think, and he double kicked it, and an indirect free kick was given in favour of Queen's Park Rangers in the Manchester City penalty area. I think that I was at Loftus Road that day and that happened.
Yeah. I was thinking more of Mitrovic for Fulham at Newcastle.
Right, okay. I don't remember that one.
I don't know the year. No, I don't know the year. But as you say, it just shows you. But hey, listen.
It's rare. It's rare, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you've mentioned that happened in March and that was changed, which is really good. Let's just keep our fingers crossed to see what happens with the goalkeepers.
Yeah, that's a quick change, wasn't it? You know, it happened, I think, early in the spring last year. I think it was March. Then they had the IFAB meeting, and I think they were so sort of like affected by that turn of events that they thought, oh, okay, we should probably change the law on that. And it was completely the right thing to do, because I was in the stadium that night, and the worst thing about that was that it was obviously Atletico were at home. They score the penalty. They think they're level with Real Madrid at the time, but actually they're behind. But it's only the Madrid players, the Real Madrid players, that realise it takes a little while, for the crowd didn't really understand what was going on because it wasn't clearly communicated inside the stadium. No one really knew. So it was, I'm pleased that they've overturned that law. They've changed that law. And certainly so is Jean-Philippe Mateta. He's absolutely happy, delighted about it. Yeah, because otherwise he wouldn't have had his goal at the weekend. Chris, thank you very much. Appreciate your time and efforts on Men in Black. Remember, you can go back and watch some of the previous episodes on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. You can listen to some of the previous episodes as well on our Premier League All Access feed. Just scroll down, you'll see the words Men in Black, and you are in. Make sure you tell all your friends about Men in Black, and let us know what you think as well. We'd love to hear from you. Chris, I'll see you next week.